This is Sai Varenya here and welcome back to my channel. So today I am discussing about the poem The Truth About the Floods written by Nissim Ezhekiel, which is included as the 4th chapter in module 2nd of the text. Nature Matters, Variants of Life and Nature, prescribed for the 2nd semester UG English Common Course students of Kannur University as course 2A03ENG. 94 years after the great flood of 1924, Kerala has experienced an unprecedented torrential rainfall which caused a massive flood in several districts of the state in the last couple of years. Hundreds of people have lost their lives. Crops and properties were destroyed. We all have experienced this. So, what are the causes of this devastating flood? It can be natural, like the unusual rainfall pattern that may be attributed to the global climatic change, or human or man-made causes such as developmental activities, encroachments, deforestation, quarrying rocks, building resorts and skyscrapers on ecologically fragile areas, unauthorized construction of buildings on riverbeds, disappearance of the lakes and wetlands due to rampant urbanization, etc. might be the reasons for this. Approximately 40 million hectares of land of our nation has been identified as prone to floods. We have already learned that major floods are mainly caused in the Ganga-Brahmaputra-Meghna basin, which carries 60% of the total river flow of our nation, and there lies the 3 states like Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal and Bihar. Apart from this, we have also learned in the chapter Disaster Management that the floods are the most frequently occurring natural disaster in Indian subcontinent because of the irregularities of the Indian monsoon. Nissim Ezhekiel is a Jewish Indian English poet who belongs to the modernist movement in Indian English poetry. He has been described as the father of post-independent Indian verse in English, and his collection of poems includes The Unfinished Man, Time to Change, 60 Poems, The Exact Name, and The Heights in Darkness. Ezhekiel's poems primarily examine the themes associated with daily life in India. As a poet is very economical in language use, he employs only carefully chosen words, that too from everyday vocabulary. He believes in clarity, directness and economy. You can find that his poems are always written in a very simple language, that too in a conversational style with lot of colloquial idiom. One can also find rich sense of humor, wit and irony in his poems, wherein he ridicules the absurdities and follies of the Indian people. And you can call Ezhekiel as a gifted poetic craftsman because his imagery and symbols always have good pictorial quality, and he makes even the abstract things concrete. The poem The Truth About the Floods by Nissim Ezhekiel is based on a report by Vicky Dixit in the Indian Express, Bombay edition, 25th September 1967. Ezhekiel speaks about the plight of the ordinary people who are ravaged by the severe floods in the villages, especially Balsor, Cuttack and Mayurbhanj in this poem. And he speaks about the truth of lack of relief or rehabilitation measures for the people affected by floods, the ineptitude and apathy of the government officials in organizing relief for the flood victims, etc. It is very interesting to note that the poet has used a very apt and self-explanatory title for this poem, The Truth About the Floods. So in this poem, like the title, is speaking about the truth about the floods, especially about the truth of the flood for the people who live in North Bihar and Orissa. In the poem, we see that the writer acts as a journalist and visits the flood-affected areas in North Bihar and Orissa, especially the low urban towns or villages like Balsor, Mayurbanj and Kutek, and several other villages like Ardra, Badakal, etc. And he speaks about the living conditions of the people in those places. That is, he speaks about the hunger and misery of those fled. And this severe flood, it occurred during the night, and because of this, the villagers couldn't plan anything. They couldn't plan anything to sustain their life. And now they are in a very miserable, pathetic condition. There is nobody to help them. The government is indifferent to their plight. So they do not have any hopes. They do not have any hopes in the government. No hopes are left. All the houses have collapsed. All crops washed away and nothing left. They are totally helpless. And we all know that Bihar is India's one of the most flood-prone areas, with almost 76% of the population living in North India under the threat of recurring flood devastation. And for that reason, you can assume that this flood occurs every year in those places. So now let's discuss the poem stanza by stanza. For a visitor to the flood-affected areas of Balsor, Mayurbanj and Kutek in North Bihar and Orissa, it is a job to get at the truth. Meet any official, he will claim his district, subdivision or block is the worst hit, and pass on a handout with statistics of relief work. The village of Madaspur, 9 miles from Balsor district, the granary of Orissa. Early morning, after 8 days of floods, paddy fills with knee-deep water. A villager speaks, I have 11 children. 2 I have left to the mercy of God. The rest are begging somewhere. I went to the village to find out the truth. All the houses had collapsed. Many were washed away. The men, women, and children were silent. They gazed at the sky. I had walked 2 miles in muddy water to reach the village. But the villagers would not tell me anything until I convinced them I was not a government official. The floods were sudden. The entire village was asleep. We heard a roaring sound and were engulfed. We took shelter on treetops. A relief party came at last. 5 students with a transistor, a tin of biscuits, camera. The villagers ran to them. They slapped their bellies and whined, I have not eaten anything. Not eaten for 3 days. My husband has been washed away. My parents have abandoned me. My daughter is dying. I cannot find my daughter. Don't make a noise, said the students. Sit down in a circle. The villagers sat down in a circle. They did not say another word. The transistor was on. and the biscuits were distributed. The camera clicked. Then the students left, humming the tune of a popular Hindi song. I moved on and arrived at a solemn tributary. The boatmen wouldn't ferry me across till I told them I was not a government official. I arrived at Adra, but the villagers would not talk to me till I told them I was not a government official. So here in this poem, in the first stanza, the poet introduces the flood-affected areas which is visited by V.K. Dikshit, that is the places such as Balsor, Mayurbhanj and Cuttack, which is in North Bihar and Orissa. He says that it is a job to get at the truth. Getting truth is not a very easy thing. That is what you can understand from the first stanza itself. Second stanza, when he says, meet any official who will claim his district, subdivision or block is the worst hit. And they pass on handouted statistics of relief work. So here the statistics itself is an utter lie. Because every government officials, they always claim that his district is the most hit, is the worst hit, so they can claim a lot of funds from the government. In this name, that the block or subdivision is the worst hit, and they will pass the statistics of relief work, which in reality, and no much relief works are done. In the third stanza, the poet describes about the condition of the village of Madaspur when he visited that particular place after 8 days. Even after 8 days, the paddy fields of Madaspur, which is known as the granary of Orissa, and even after 8 days, the paddy fields of Madaspur are in knee-deep water. In the fourth stanza, we see a villager speaking about the plight. He has 8 children, and 2 he have left to the mercy of God, and the rest are begging somewhere. In the fifth stanza, we see the poet has now decided to visit the village which he has read in the Indian Express and to find out the truth about the flood-hit place. So here he has written, all the houses had collapsed, many were washed away, the men, women, children were silent. They gazed to the sky, and he walked 2 miles in muddy water to reach that particular village. But the villagers would not tell me anything until I convinced them I was not a government official. Here, you can see the line, I was not a government official. This is an example for I. It was only after being convinced that he was not a government official, the poet was able to get the reply from the villagers for his question. And the villager replies, the floods were sudden, the entire village was asleep. We heard a roaring sound and were engulfed. We took shelter on tree tops, and here we come to know that the flood happened during night. So the villagers were not prepared and they were in a very helpless situation. And many took shelter on tree tops. And in the same stanza, the poet describes about the arrival of a relief party and what they brought with them. And it is very ironical that they brought the relief party of 5 students. They brought with them a transistor, a tin of biscuits and a camera. And in the next stanza, you see how did the villagers respond to the arrival of this relief party. The villagers ran to them, they slapped their bellies and whined, I have not eaten for 3 days. My husband has been washed away. My parents have abandoned me. My daughter is dying. I cannot find my daughter. And you see the relief party says, "Don't make a noise," said the students. "Sit down in a circle." The villagers sat down in a circle. They did not say another word. The transistor was on, the biscuits were distributed, the camera clicked, and the students left, humming the tune of a popular Hindi song. So here, from this stanza, we can understand that the charity done by the relief party of 5 students were just to publicize the pets, to prove the philanthropic and humanitarian activities, and also even to collect money in that name. And this is not charity. That is, the only motive behind this charity was to make use of this tragic situation to their own advantage, as like the government officials have done. And you see how the students left. They were humming the tune of a popular Hindi song even after seeing such a miserable condition with their own eyes. They are humming the tune of a popular Hindi song as if they have went for a tour. In the 9th stanza, you see the attitude of the boatman towards the poet. Thinking that he was a government official, the boatman was not ready to ferry him across. Similarly, the villagers of another flood-hit place, Arda, they were not ready to talk to the poet, thinking that he was a government official. And in the same stanza, we see the plight of the people of another flood-stricken village of Balapal, wherein you can see children wailing with hunger, and the poet describes that the atmosphere of despair pervaded the village. That is, you can see a very, very pathetic, helpless situation. I asked the men to help me organize relief, but they turned their backs on me till I told them I was not a government official. Here we can see the poet Ezhekiel. He requests the villagers to help and organize the relief. But what happened? They turned their backs, thinking he was a government official. Instead, it is another opportunity for the officials to fill the pockets, and here we can see the indifference and apathy of the government officials to the poor people, especially to the flood victims. The public servants who are meant to help the poor people, meant to serve the people, they seldom serve the people. The public servants who are meant to serve the people seldom help the people. And it is very ironical that the poet has used the line, "Till I told them I was not a government official," almost 4 times in this poem. And this is the best example to show the apathy and indifference of the government officials to the flood victims. That is, no fund is given to them. They get no true relief. And here, he has repeated it 4 times, that he has used the strategy of repetition in order to show the contrast of what might be expected and what actually happened. In the last stanza, the poet comments on the excuse offered by the district authorities at Balazar, where they admit that they had failed and nature had conspired against them. So the villagers, they request the poet to write the truth in his report, thinking that he is an journalist, and the poet promised them that he will write the truth. So here you see, "Write the truth," they said, "in your report," and so I did. And from this it is very clear that it is difficult to get at the truth about the floods. So for anybody who relies on government reports and government statistics, the truth is entirely different from what we have seen in this poem. That is, as per the government data, as per the government statistics, enough rehabilitation and relief works are done in the flood-stricken places and everything is perfect. But in reality, no much relief work is done, no rehabilitation happens, and the truth about the floods is that no matter what the government claims, people suffer. And this is the reality and this is the truth behind the floods. In conclusion, I would like to say that Ezhekiel has presented the indifference and apathy of the government officials towards the flood victims in a very satirical or ironical way. He gives a realistic depiction of flood and the sufferings of the flood victims. Like all his poems, in this poem too, we can find the typical writing style of Ezhekiel, with a lot of humor, wit and irony. This poem too is written in a very simple language and he has employed very carefully chosen words, and it is written in conversational style, and you can see it is written in the form of a conversation between the poet and the villagers. You can also analyze the poem as a conflict between those in power and those who do not have power. So the truth about the floods is all about fighting oneself hard to survive, the indifference and apathy of the government officials to the flood victims, charity for publicizing the humanitarian activities, relief works and rehabilitation only for namesake, and above all the sufferings faced by the flood victims. So with this, I wind up the discussion and you can subscribe the channel for more videos. Till then, bye-bye.